There you
Chicago
go.
to L.A.
And if your car breaks down, we're going to tell you where to take it.
All the way.
Well, Michael, I'm glad that you like your song.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked out a good one there.
Thank you. And Michael is from Exclusive Auto in Yucaipa. And one of the reasons why I have Mikey on this program as much as humanly possible, one, he's a cool guy. And second of all, the work that he does on vehicles, my vehicles and the station's vehicles and everybody that we know take the vehicles to Michael. Why? Michael is trying to tell you. You're up, dear.
Well, we always try to do everything we can to help people out. We've been around for 2 decades now, and with the vehicle awareness clinics that we do, which you usually always ask me about those when the next one is, we'll be gearing up and starting off again. When it gets cold and rainy, we kind of put a little hold on that for a little bit, but of course they'll be starting up here because those are always popular, and so are getting people to be aware of what's happening. You don't have to be scared of the auto shop. You only have to know what's going on, and then it's pretty easy to deal with, actually.
Well, what makes it so easy is the way you and your team does things. You're like the big kahuna of doctors for cars, and you got everybody that works for you. When something is wrong, they say it in English, for everybody can understand what's going on. So you do the diagnosis thingy, and then you tell them, okay, what do you want to do?
Try to break it down into normal terms that everybody pretty much understands. All of us that have been involved in the auto industry, such as computer industry or even the TV industry, I don't know about picture tubes anymore. I think that's a way of the past. But
did I give away my age?
Yep.
But whatever, when we and I teach part of the automotive service industry. In fact, this weekend I'll be doing that this weekend for service writers, the people that you talk to all across the U.S. and parts of Canada come in for that class. And the big thing that I try to get over to them is, you know what, there's a lot of people that can repair the cars. What you really have to learn that you're doing is you're not so much fixing the car. That's the product. That's what's expected. But what you're really after is helping the person. And once an auto shop realizes what the true goal is, it's the person in distress, not so much the car that's broken. That's easy to deal with. Then that's when it separates them from the crowd. And that's what we learned a long time ago and started growing and developing and really pushed for the customer, the human factor. And again, the cars, if we find great techs, the cars get fixed, but help the person.
Well, on that line of helping the person, you know what I like about that? That you have wonderful coffee and donuts while you're waiting for your car to get diagnosed.
If this was a Weight Watchers convention, I don't know if that'd be helping the person anymore.
As you notice, when I bring the truck in, they tend to disappear because, and then I go home and suffer.
Well, you must get there before I get there. Don't tell my girlfriend. She'll be mad.
Oh, okay.
I'm not supposed to do that.
Okay. All right, well, forget about the donuts.
The only funny thing about that is I bring my truck in one day, and it needs to be diagnosed, and they come out and they tell me, we found the problem. Your truck has, I'm drinking my coffee, by the way. You found your problem, and you have a broken dropsy sloop knibbling pin. And I said, excuse me?
And then I hope we broke down in laughter.
And you said that was, like $669. And I said, let me see that part. And they wouldn't show it to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, seriously.
Okay, let's keep on moving.
When you come in a lot, even when there's nothing wrong. I think
that's for the donuts.
Of the donut. Yeah, you swing it, and it's always a pleasure. You can swing in anytime. Pick up a donut.
Well, they're so fresh.
We like to sell you the swiveling, chagusi, whatever it is.
Broken dropsy sloop knibbling pin.
Okay, you know what it is.
It wasn't knibbling right.
Right. And knowing Michael, he will find one and he will show it to you.
Well, and speaking of that, before you go on, I really seriously did have a problem with my truck one day. I was coming out of a sandwich shop. I had just bought something. Coming out of the driveway, and I kind of felt something was starting to feel funny. But I wanted to keep going momentarily. Had to get across the street, put my foot on the gas, and the truck wouldn't go faster than about 20 miles an hour. And I thought, what am I going to do now? I have about 6 miles to the house, or I pull over and figure this out, which you know how that works. So I just kept kind of going, but whether I stepped on the gas to the floor or not, it would just run maybe at a top speed of 20 miles an hour. And I could get all the way up the hill. I got all the way to the house and even got in the driveway. And I says, okay, I think I'm going to shut this thing off because if it dies now, I'm in my driveway. So I shut it off, and I said, you know, I think I'll turn it on again just to see if it does before I call the shop.
Yep.
Turned it on. The thing immediately ran.
Do you want us to explain what's going on there?
Yes. I can't believe it because I was able to take it to your shop the next day, and then you went from there. And I said, what just happened?
That happens a lot. And, in fact, that particular subject, when we do the awareness clinics, those are some of the things that we actually touch on and get people to become aware of what's happening so that if it does happen to them, it's not actually a problem, such as you just described. You went home, you shut it off, you restarted, and drove again. You kicked the ghost person out that everybody likes to throw in. The gremlin was gone. He ran out of a donut and he split.
That was a good movie, by the way. There's a couple of gremlins, I think.
So that particular car gremlin, which unfortunately they were manufacturing them. We, not being me, but the car manufacturers are putting them in, and it's not by purpose. It's actually to help the car. But what happened in that particular moment, so we can explain it, is that it went into limp home mode. Your car went into limp home mode, such as you hurting yourself and you'll limp. You're not going to you don't hurt your foot and you're stuck right there. You can limp and get home, right? So that's what the manufacturers call it. That car that the computers are getting smarter and smarter. Makes us feel stupider and stupider, right? But the car's getting smarter. It detected that there was a problem. It put itself into a limp home mode so that you can essentially limp home and not be stuck. But it's not going to give you full throttle. It's not going to give you full performance because it doesn't want to hurt something because the car exactly at that point doesn't know what's going on. So it doesn't want to hurt a transmission or further damage the engine, but it's going to get you out of, say, the middle of the desert or something else like that. So the manufacturers did that instead of just shutting it down. But by restarting it, when you did that and restarted it, you reset the computer. You told it to start watching again. And if it operates fine at that point, it only saw an intermittent problem. But it's so minute that it hadn't seen it again. So the car could physically operate again for another 2 years and not have an issue. There will be a code, which I know when you had come in, we scanned it and found a code, yes. And that tells what the computer had seen. And at that point, I think if it was right, it was a throttle position, a TPS.
That's what they said,
yeah.
TPS.
TPS is a term that somebody will hear. It's a throttle position sensor. Your foot now talks to the motor. So instead of a cable like the good old days and the carburetors and everything that was simple back in the 50s, that Route 66 song, that was the era of the carburetor and throttle cables. But now your foot's no longer, for the most part, connected to the engine.
So we're like an airplane, fly by wire.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Well, that's scary in a way, but it works fine.
It does work. It does create some problems, but it makes all that wonderful, the fun toys that we get to deal with in Parktronic and everything, all the wonderful things on a car anymore. That's how it comes, technology. So to at least have the car checked out, such as what you did, was perfect. That's exactly right. Now, on that, there might not be any repair necessary. It's a good idea to have it checked out, and in that case, not pay anything for anything. But if it happens again, then you know, hey, something's on the horizon. It's coming up.
Well, my tendency is, as the car gets older, I try to change certain parts that may be coming up to the useful service life. Mm-hmm. Some of your mechanics may say, well, you know, how many miles you got on that? And I'll say, you know, I'm thinking about, is that part there going to go out? Say, well, you know, it's kind of at its service life, but wait till something breaks, or if you even feel anything, or something like this throttle position sensor, you might just change it out anyway.
Yeah, that comes into the servicing. In fact, Bev, we were talking before the show, and you were asking about spring and what people can do, because you tend to throw that out at me, like when summer's coming and all that, what we should do. And so that kind of leads into our conversation that we were chatting about here. And to do stuff, whether it's broken or as it's coming up, what it boils down to, because people ask us all the time, and when we're at the clinics and when I'm out and about, and they'll say, well, what needs to get done? How do you know if something does need to be replaced? I don't want to spend, especially in this economy, quote, the economy's not bad. It's only what you make of it.
Thank you very much.
We're not doing the recession anymore, okay? That was a bad idea. We opted out of it, and it seems to be
and it's
better
working
for you.
fine. It's over and done with. Forget about it.
Well, I like this 15 or 12% unemployed or 7, whatever number they want to look. But let's say you said 10 or 12%. Well, that means that 90% are employed. So
okay, we're getting off the subject. Let's not even go there. That's another show.
That's a sad show.
Yes.
But when you start, what it will always boil down to, whether it's coming springtime, summer, hey, do I need spark plugs? It will boil down to knowing a good shop that you trust. And then that, of course, leads into, well, how do you find that good shop that you trust? That's one of the things that we kind of teach for free. How do you find the good shop to trust? Not, well, you trust us because we're a good shop. That's not what I'm going with. There are keys to figuring out when you're speaking with a new shop, if you move into an area, or you're just maybe something happened with your shop and you want to find a different one that's closer to your house or whatever. There's ways of finding that great shop. And when you find that great shop, that's when you really know you're trusting, again, that human factor. Somebody can sit down with you and explain what's going on. And if you need something, they can tell you why and when it should be, and to where, like you say, you can understand what we're talking about. And that's just because we've created that communication and that trust. And then now you don't have to worry about, because these cars are changing, even such as yourself. These cars are not the same as they were 15, 10, 5 years ago.
I used to be able to work on them.
We did that on purpose.
Yes.
We keep you out of it. No. I didn't manufacture the thing.
No, I look under the hood and I go, this thing could fly to the moon. It's complicated.
And talking about all of this, too, as everybody knows, when a female, regardless how young, how old, whatever, when a female takes a vehicle into any shop, the guys have this attitude, oh, she's a dummy, she doesn't know anything. And now, learning so much from Michael and his team and doing my own homework, when something goes kind of wacky, you can kind of feel it and you go, oh, not all the technical names, but that whatchamacallit is not going with the thingamajiggy. Now, I can call Michael, and he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. That's pretty cool, right?
I like your terms.
Yeah, and then that
yeah, exactly. See, I always have to ask you to go over those again.
Well, that is the broken dropsy soup knibbling.
Whatever. But it's really good. And, ladies, I'm going to strongly suggest, we all learned everything about football and every sport that there's out there. Doctors finally realized, and they're coming out with it pretty soon, that our brains are bigger than you guys. So we notice, take the time, whatever vehicle you have, go to a mechanic that you trust and say, teach me. The same way we learned football and soccer, they can teach you about that vehicle. Know every little thingamajiggy thing that's in there. Because one of these days, you may be driving home from work late in the evening. You may have your children and your animals in that car. Something happens. What are you going to do? Before you panic, you're going to know. And then if you can't get hold of Michael or his staff immediately, call your AAA. That's what they're there for. Take it away, Michael.
Yeah, and that brings up, we'll be AAA actually pretty soon. We were approached by AAA because our shop is noticed, as you would know, with magazines and everything. So if AAA approached us, they want us to become a AAA shop, and we started that process. We'll be AAA real soon. So we're working diligently on that.
Yes, and I'm so glad to hear that. And you have been